With the past, present, and future threatened by the forces of Darkseid, and with the Justice League's heaviest hitters away fighting a tournament to the death, it will be up to Mr. Terrific to form his own team to pick up the slack. What'll happen next? Well, let's hop into the pages of Justice League Unlimited issue number 12, a tie-in to DC K.O, and find out what happens next together, shall we? So then, as we join the book, we check on in with Batgirl and the Atom, a very fun and unexpected little team-up, if I do say so myself. Them and the remaining heroes who weren't part of the 32 fighting in the death tournament are doing everything they can to help oversee the evacuation of Earth. They got everything: space arcs, microverses, magical pocket dimensions, basically every way you can think of to get people to safety. Though, as Barbara mentioned, some people are too proud and too stubborn to leave right away. Her father, the former Commissioner Gordon, has vowed to stay behind and help out as long as humanly possible. And then you have the villains who didn't get locked up in the Phantom Zone. I'm talking real losers like the Polka Dot Man, who have decided to use the chaos of the world ending to try and rob a bank. Naturally, Batgirl and the Atom thinks that this is incredibly stupid, but also a little funny because, you know, this is the Polka Dot Man. This guy can't succeed at the best of times. What does he think he's going to do now? Well, the answer to that is shockingly quite a lot. The Atom moves on in to arrest this guy, and he ends up hitting him back with the force of an atomic bomb. Taking both him and Batgirl out, they're rushed back to the medical wing of the Watchtower, and we learn that this isn't an isolated event. Loser villains across the DC universe are suddenly walking around with amazing supercharged powers they never had before, and it's giving the auxiliary Justice League more than a little bit of a headache. But what exactly is going on here, and why now at the end of the world? Well, this is where Mr. Terrific swoops on in to explain. You see, this is all actually the work of Neron. Yeah, that's right, one of the DC universe's many answers to the devil. It seems with the threat of utter destruction at the hands of Darkseid floating around, a bunch of the supervillains out there have opted to make their own survival precautions, mainly trading their souls to Neron for safe passage in hell should the worst happen. In exchange, the Demon Lord wants to sow as many seeds of chaos as humanly possible, making it so fewer humans will actually escape the planet, meaning that when they die, he'll have more mortal souls to reap. Dealing with this new supervillain threat is also going to further spread an already incredibly thinly spread league to the breaking point. That is, of course, unless Mr. Terrific can dig deep into the super toy box and put together his own special task force, and with that, Terrific's 10 is born. A smattering of time-displaced heroes and some real deep cuts. We got 90s hook-hand Aquaman, original Earth 2 Power Girl, Guy Gardner as the Warrior, Electric Blue Superman, the Golden Hawk, the shitty Batman Beyond, from Future's End, who was actually Tim Drake, Alan Scott from Kingdom Come, the Dr. Fate from Jeff Johns' new Golden Age future, and even Owl Woman, who is a completely different character with absolutely zero connection to Night Owl from The Watchmen. I swear, people who get the loudest about comic book stuff on social media have never actually read the books they're talking about. Now, why exactly did Mr. Terrific pick these heroes specifically? Well, there's actually a very good reason for it, and that is the place they actually inhabit in time. Again, as I've been saying all this time, and what this issue finally ends up confirming and explaining, is that these characters here aren't just from the past and the future, they're from possible pasts and futures. Gorilla Grodd and the Legion of Doom's monkeying with time and space may have opened the door, but now Omega Energy is literally breaking down the walls of causality, meaning that these characters can all exist in the here and now, even though they have no pasts and no futures to return to once the timeline is fixed. This also means that Terrific's 10 has a real air of tragedy about it. All of these heroes have come together because they're good people, but they know full well that their success means that they will cease to exist. Oh, but it actually gets a little worse as the timeline heals itself in an attempt to fight back against any paradoxes. All memories of these guys will actually cease to be once the job is done, just like how the Justice League didn't actually remember fighting the Legion of Doom. At the end of the We Are Yesterday event, these guys are basically chronal ghosts But hey, that still doesn't mean they can't do some good, right? Guy Gardner as the Warrior goes to back up Fire and Ice in Rome after they have already been defeated by Heatwave and Captain Cold. Now, this is a much younger and much more chauvinist version of Guy who ends up cocking up the whole situation when he tries to get closer to a woman he used to date. The crazy part is, Ice isn't even mad right now, she's just kind of sad and despondent. Like, the apocalypse is right around the corner and this is still the very last thing she needed. And you know what? Even Warrior can see he's not helping the situation at all, and as such, he agrees to leave, but as he goes, he actually starts tearing up. And you know what? I think scenes like this are why people love Guy Gardner as a character, because he can always shock you with the layers that he has under the surface. Don't worry though, there's a lot of sad feelings to go around as Hookhand Aquaman takes this opportunity to investigate Aquaman Prime's quarters, which he can do because Arthur is off fighting as one of the 32 in the tournament. Furthermore, people have told me that the current Aquaman book is actually super friggin' wild, with a lot of subtle references to Omega implying that maybe Aquaman is actually the secret undercover Darkseid, but I digress. Gritty 90s Aquaman sees a whole alternate life laid out in front of him: marriage, new sidekicks, happiness, and of course the birth of his own daughter, which is a pretty big deal considering that this Aquaman lost his son and his arm before becoming such a grouch. It's here too that Martian Manhunter shows up saying, you know what, I probably shouldn't let you get all these spoilers, but considering you're probably going to cease to exist anyway, at least you can go out on a high note knowing that everything was okay for a version of you. Now, while Guy and Arthur had some life-affirming moments, that's not the case across the board, as Dr. Fate, Owl Woman, and Golden Eagle wonder if there's any way out of this current predicament. Can they magic their way back home to their times, to their planets? Is that too selfish a thought, or is that just human? If you knew you were never going to exist again, what would you do with the small amount of time you had? Well, believe it or not, Earth 2 Power Girl might actually have the answer for this. She decides to record a video message for Prime Power Girl to watch when she comes back from the tournament. And honestly, this is a really smart workaround for their problem. In the video, Power Girl talks about everything she lost, her planet, then eventually her world, how she was so filled with anger and resentment, but how she soldiered on anyway. But, you know, now another world is threatened, and now she has the opportunity to try and make a change, no matter how small. She only wishes that she could have had a chance to meet her Prime Earth counterpart about how proud she is of everything she's accomplished, and again, this is just surprisingly sweet. Now, the next morning, Terrific's 10 assemble around a massive boom tube as their next mission, what might very well end up being their first and last mission, sees them go to the bowels of hell to take the fight directly to Neron as the comic comes to a close. And so that was Justice League Unlimited issue number 12, everybody, and I gotta say, as far as setups go for big tie-ins to even bigger DC events, this one was a pretty solid start. I've said it before and I'll say it again, one of the best things about this book is how Mark Waid chooses to shine a spotlight on characters who normally never get it, getting lost in the shuffle for one reason or another. This story specifically, and how it sees fit to actually give some love to characters who maybe only existed for relatively short moments of time in publication. And I mean, hey, every character out there is someone's favorite, so there's a good chance that this story and its very human, very natural approach to these characters, their trials and tribulations, is probably going to warm your heart. I know it most certainly worked for me. Hell, going into this story, I almost get like a heroic Suicide Squad vibe from the whole thing. Here's our smattering of heroes. No, not all of them are going to make it back. In fact, none of them probably are. Get to know them, get to like them, and then have your heart absolutely broken when they end up biting it. Overall, I would give this one a very strong 8.5 out of 10. Very excited to see where it goes from here. Hey there everyone, it's your old pal Cape Joel again, thanking you so much for watching to the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, why not check out my Amazon link down in the description. Yes, that's right, the Cape Joel channel officially has its own Amazon storefront now. You can pick up a comic or anything else for that matter, and if you did, you'd really be helping me in the channel. So with that out of the way everyone, I will see you again next time. Bye-bye.